All right. Hot coffee. Hey, what's up? We're just about to get into this. I wanted to preface this by saying I'm excited to jump back and just wrap up what I've been really going hard at in the last couple of days, which is loops. I had wanted to come in much earlier and do this, but I never actually did manage to come earlier and start doing this. But that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I just wanna jump straight into trying and do loops. So let's go to look on javascript.net, and I think in here I really have been reading until somewhere here, but I've only managed to do a couple of exercises. And if I was able to finish it off faster, I would be very, very excited. So write a loop that makes 7 calls to the console.log to output the following triangle. This was the first one that I was supposed to do, but actually I got really frustrated with this. I never, I never. But let me just try and do whatever I had done. So let's create a JavaScript comment here. I think you write it like this, or think like this, and then like that again. Bruh. Yeah. So this is the exercise. Control C, Control V. Cool. So in our exercise, they want us to write a loop that makes 7 calls to the console log that has the following triangle. How I tried to do this last time, if I remember, I described, I said let, how am I still writing comments? Yeah, some mistake I've done. I don't know what it is. Let triangle be, and this is what maybe I'll correct today, be hash. And then I said let count be, I think I said 7, and that was the number. And then I started a for loop, and then I said for let so for count will start from 1. Okay, this is not what I did, but I'm just thinking now maybe this is what I could do. 1, and then but count is less than 7, all right, or equal to 7, less than or equal to 7. Let's try that. Equal to 7, count equals count plus 1, and then we are going to pass in the following arguments: console.log count. That's not how I did. I must have said triangle plus 1. I must have said triangle plus, and I think this is what I did, if I remember. And then this is what I did, but let's run and see if this actually works. Run this. Also, this has printed 1 to 7. This is not what I did. I want to print different triangles. So console.log triangle. Let's try that. Clear, run it. Okay, so this hasn't worked. This is clearly not what I did. Let me rethink this now that I have an opportunity to just record this and think about my loops. What I had done, I had written steps for myself to follow. So I told myself step 1, and maybe this is a habit that I'm gonna get used to. Whenever I have a problem to solve, I can start by thinking through it because I'm still a beginner until then I can figure it out. So I'd say step 1, let me clear this. Step 1, create a binding. Create a binding triangle and give it a string value hash, because it's so clear to me that hash is a string, but I would like to print hash to the console, the string to the console without the quote. I don't know how I can do that yet. All right, then so now we now this triangle will exist in our memory, okay, as a string. Okay, so now what we want this triangle to loop and add 7 times. Okay, so using a for loop, make the triangle print to the console 7 times, iterating +1, something like that, right? This is my thinking now. That may be different from the other one. So let's see how this one looks. So select triangle. We should maybe use a different binding. B. But now I want to initialize. I want it to loop without. Should I assume that the number variable exists in JavaScript without let me assume, let me try. So let me try for so I'll say triangle man should use a different variable. Triangle is equals to 1. Let's try that. But triangle is less than or equal to 7. Right? Triangle triangle plus console.log triangle. Use a different variable next time. Let's run this and see. Oh, okay, so this one has run 1 to 7. What is the mistake that I've done? But how come it already okay? So maybe the mistake that I've done is not to so maybe then I need to have 2 variables. I need to have a count and a triangle. So create step 2, create a binding for the count and give it the value 7. Okay, so my count should be 7. Let count be 7 as a number. So when we clear this and run it, what mistake have we done? I don't know. Let count be 7. 4. So 4, let's use count. Let's loop with our count, okay, not with our triangle. And then we're going to pass in, okay, so 4 count is equals to 0. No, let's not start from 0. Yeah, let's start from 0. 0 count is less than or equal to 7 count plus plus. Okay, and then here inside our count we want to say triangle equals triangle plus hash console.log triangle. All right, so what is my mistake? So I've gotten really close, but again not so close. Why? So now I have been able to print the triangle to the console, and I have been able to make this triangle loop 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. All right, so it starts at 8, so maybe my count should start at 1. Let's clear and run it. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, just like this one. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So how about if I say triangle equals triangle plus plus? What happens here? Not a number, not a number, not a number, not a number. All right, so triangle has to what about if I removed this line? Will it just print 1 to 7? Run it. It's just going to print. So nothing is happening. Actually, I'm just printing this. How about if I just typed my triangle to my, I actually never initialized. What if I wrote it without a string? What if I just told it be hash? Will it know? Will it refuse? Invalid. Yeah, because what is this? And yeah, okay, fine, I get you. So let triangle be this string here called hash. And how can we make an empty string? How to print an empty string? To the console. JavaScript. I should have added JavaScript. I'm not getting whatever I want. Remove empty. Huh. That's on Stack Overflow. hitting should I be using a template literal? What should can I have two loops at the same time? What am I? It's such a simple exercise, and I just can't. I can't think of the logic that can remove. Write a loop that makes 7 calls to the console. Log to output the following triangle. Let me see the hint. You can start with a program that prints out the number 1 to 7, which you can derive by making few modifications to the even number printing example given earlier in the chapter. Now, consider the equivalence between number and strings of hash characters. You can go from 1 to 2 by adding 1 plus equals to 1. And you can go to hash by adding hash by adding character. The solution can closely follow the number printing pattern. How about if I deleted this and said for triangle maybe I should use hash. It won't print anything. Okay, is equals to 1. I think I've tried this already. Triangle is less than or equal to 7. Triangle is equals to triangle plus 1. Console.log. Should have used I instead. Okay, so what if I said I use hash here instead? Say, it won't work because you have to use the binding, not the yeah, it already won't work. Let's come and type these hints, and maybe if we type the hint we're going to change hints. Control C, Control V. Too long, man. Alright, so you can start with a program that prints 1 to 7, 1 to 7, which you can derive by making a few modifications to the even number printing example, which is this. So let I be 7. Alright, or you can just jump straight into with 4 I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 7. Okay, I plus plus console dot log I. Well, now which mistake have I done now? Let I be 7. Let I be 7. I is less than equal to 7. I plus plus console.log I. Alright, so I think we need to have two we need to have two we need to define two bindings, because this one is this is what it has given us. We need to define oh yeah, that's the problem I just did. I need to start with 1. So that it, yeah, that's the problem. Why beginner problems? Right, so let's start with the program prints 1 to 7. Actually, I want it to start at 1, so let's clear this. And so we have a program that prints 1 to 7, which you can derive by making a few modifications to even. Now consider the equivalence between numbers and strings of hash characters. You can now go from 1 to 2 by adding 1 plus or equals to 1. You can go from hash to hash by adding the character plus equals hash. Thus your solution can closely follow the number printing program. Alright, so if you can consider the equivalence between the numbers and strings of hash characters. So let's change this to strings instead. Okay. What if I just used like typed 7 strings to the console? Let's try that. I know it's not gonna work, but let I be hash for I is equals to hash